And for today I am using a 30 by 40 canvas panel, and this is pre-primed, so it's primed with acid-free acrylic titanium gesso, so there is no need to prime this beforehand. So to start with this, I'm just choosing my colours. I'm using some acrylic colours by Arteza, and I'm also using some of their pouring paints, so it will be a combination of 4 different purples, and I just love this combination. So these particular paints have a really high sheen to it, they're very, very metallic. And then I'm simply laying all my colours on, and what I want is a degrading effect. I want graduated layers going from dark to light, almost like a sunset. And it's quite easy to do, you just need to blend wet on wet, which means when you get to 2 colours, you just use the same paintbrush and swipe over it, as I'm doing there. And you can even go right up into the dark colours until you achieve the tone that you want. So I'm going to do this first layer and then dry it off. And then we'll be using a palette knife later for a little bit of a abstract effect. And now for the second layer, I've let that dry. I'm using some of these metallic acrylic colours, and I'll list everything down below in the description box if you're interested. And this is just going to add a little bit more depth and some more sheen. So it's the same process. I'm using my 1.5 inch brush, and I'm doing a wet on wet technique. And I'll continue to do this until I achieve the desired gradiated effect. And in between, I like to use my hairdryer. It's the same one I use for my alcohol ink art. And just swipe over until it's dry. And now just using a palette knife, and you can use any size type palette knife that you prefer. This is quite a long one, but you could use a round headed one. And you're going to swipe from right into the middle, and you're going to do the same variated gradation effect. And I love the marks that these palette knives leave. It's really a modern look, so don't worry if it's not completely covered. The point is to see the colour underneath. You don't want to completely cover up all of your hard work with the first 2 layers. And you can use the same wet and wet technique with the one palette knife. When you get to 2 colours, just swipe over it and they'll blend. And I've used the acrylic, metallic acrylic, for the last layer. And today I am going to be using ArtPro. It's a very, very thick resin, and ResinPro gave me this to try. So I'm very happy to try it for this purpose. And as you can see, I've written on it, it's a 7:1 ratio. So it's 7 parts of A to 1 part of B. And the way I measure that is, once again, referring back to my ratio chart. I am going to work out about 80 millilitres. So for part A, I will need 47 millilitres, and part B, 33 millilitres, which will give me 80. I have also got a nice handy silicone spatula, and since I'm using an Arteza canvas board, I will be using Arteza glitter, and this is in Violet Rose. So the reason I'm using this ArtPro is because it's specially designed for art and not for any craft work. So this will be perfect, and you'll see the consistency later. It's really, really thick, so I think it's going to work perfectly for this particular method. So I'm going to measure out 47 of the first half, which is the A. And you can see how thick that is. That is really gloopy. Look at that. That's really pretty gloopy. So let me get it back on there. So 14, you kind of have to squeeze it out like that. So that's 35, and I need 47, so it's going to be a little hard to pour in, but I'm going to go really slowly until I get 47. We're at 5, 6. I think that will do. I needed 47, but I'm going to stop there because I'm scared of putting too much in. Oops, it's still coming out. Let me grab this. That really is gloopy. And then we need 33 of the part B. And the part B is a little more fluid. Oops, shaking the camera there. And then I am going to set it to 0 and then pour 33 of that in, and this is much more fluid, so it's a little easier. There we go, we're almost there. 27, 30, 32 and then 33. And it says here to mix components based on weight using an electric scale, and then mix thoroughly for at least 3 minutes. And that really is quite thick and gloopy, but I'm just going to set my timer. So 1, 2, 3, let's go. Let's put that there and that there. And I'm going to make sure I turn it around properly because this is really thick. So I need to make sure that I'm going to move that out of the way in case I get anything on top of that. Okay, so that's done. And I have also got some glass shards in here. And let's bring back the painting. And what I'm going to do is put a straight line down the middle first. And if I need more, I'll add some more. And then I am going to use the flat end of the silicone brush and just go up and down, some longer than others, in an abstract manner. All the way along, and make sure I've got some in the middle and right on the edge. And let's just play around a little bit with the form. I want some on the edge there, so I can take some back here and just come back in like that until I'm happy with how it looks. And yes, I'm concentrating. Doesn't require that much concentration, but I like to do things properly. So I'm going to go up, and I don't want it to be too equal, so let's make some really long on the edges, like that, and another really long one there to balance it out. And make sure that that's a bit more spiky than that, and maybe one more here, and then another one here to balance that out. And obviously I didn't need that much of that. I'll use that for something else. So what I'm going to do is take my glass shards and I'm going to sprinkle them on the top. It's simple. And I am also going to intermittently put some glitter on as well. And I've chosen this glitter because I thought it looks a little bit in between the two colours, the two purples. Oh, that's lovely. And then you want to kind of go a little bit crazy. You just want to sprinkle it. Because actually we're going to let this dry completely before we take any of this off. We're not going to take it off now because now it's got its shape and we want it to stay there. So sprinkle the rest over. Don't forget the sides. And there. We have some more here. I realise I might need some more there. And there. A bit more sparkles. And then just leave that to dry overnight. So this is it the next day, and I've actually gone off camera and just unsprinkled everything, threw it in a sort of a sheet, and then I've recuperated any of the stones. So that's what it looks like. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love that sparkle. It's stunning. I'm really, really pleased with it. So I've decided that that kind of looks like a sunset, so that would be the sky, and that could be the ground, or, well, you know, use your own imagination, but there. So I'd like it this way up. Now I've got one of these, I'm not quite sure what they're called. Is it an American frame or an inset frame? But I've actually made it myself, and I'll show you what it is. It's a frame in which a floating frame, that's what they call it, a floating frame. Am I right? Yes, I'm sure I'm right. So it's a floating frame, and I've actually made this myself, pretty easy. It's 2 flat pieces of wood in a square with a baguette all the way around there, all done with wood glue, clamps, and these little things are from the back of canvases, stretch canvases. They're the keys, and you usually put them in the corners to tighten the actual canvas. Anyway, that's what they're for, and I have sandwiched 2 together, and then with some wood glue I have attached them to the side with clamps, left them overnight, and that will hold this in place. So I am going to put some wood glue on all 4 of these, and then insert it in equally, spaced equally around, and that will be that. And before I do, I'll have to sign it. And then just to finish this off, I've got one of these little Z, I think they're called a Z hook. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm just going to add it to the top with 2 screws.